Welcome. It's Wednesday night. GunSlingerz night. Welcome everybody. And listen, today I've got 3 esteemed guests. Obviously, we've got our residents. Gumza, how you doing, sir? How you been?
Yeah, I'm all good. Recovered from yesterday.
Gunner King, it's good to see you, sir. How you been?
Yeah, all good. Yeah.
And making his GunSlingerz debut, we have James. James, how you doing, sir? Man, listen, I've heard nothing but I heard nothing but good things about you. How are you doing, man? It's good to have you on, man.
Pleasure to be here. I'm very good. I'm excited to get talking with you guys and going into what the
where
topic
can we
is.
find you? Tell us a little bit, where can we find you on socials, etc.
Well, I mean, I'm not much of a social guy. I keep myself to myself. Like, I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter, I have a Twitter. If you want to follow me, it's James P. Wright 99.
We'll put that in the description for everyone.
But I mean, I'm just an Arsenal fan that likes trying to talk sense into what seems to be a murky fan base. So that's why I'm here.
Listen. That's all we're about here on Armoury. And everyone, please smash the like, subscribe, and share this. And let's all get our followers up. This has been with the euphoria, euphoria of all the Euros and everything that went on, and everything that happened post Sunday. The sad tweets that came out for our 3 black players, Saka, Rashford, and Sancho. I just wanted to say my 2 pence worth in it. It was very unfortunate, disgraceful what's gone on, what's been said. These are kids, and I think if half of us, right, actually every one of us, just think right to ourselves and think what we've done at the ages of 19, 20, 21, and what's Rashford, 23, 24? 23. Just think what you was doing with your life at that age, right? And these kids, right, do you know what I mean, are representing their country and doing and playing to not just that, competing at the Euros, but getting to the Euros final, contributing, representing your country. How many of us can actually say that we represent in our country to the highest? And to have that kind of abuse levied at them, I was just so sad, so sad. And I'm not sure if any of you guys wanted to pitch in with any of that, but it was just such a sad thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone and anyone misses a penalty. And
I made a tick earlier actually that pointed out the fact that Gerrard, Carragher, and I think it was Lampard as well, have all taken penalties in shootouts that have lost the shootouts. I thought on international duty. I definitely know Gerrard and Carragher have. I'll find out who the third one was. But like all 3 of the players.
The best. I was watching the other day. Sorry, James. I'm going to show my age here. Right? I was watching a rerun, right, of the France-Brazil 1986 World Cup quarterfinal, right? When Zico, everyone knows Zico, absolute legend, comes on as a sub. Game's 1-1. They get a penalty. Zico steps up. Misses. And this is Zico, and you know what football's like in Brazil. Absolutely, it's a religion. It's not even like a matter of luck. It's a religion. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, listen, it happens. And to get vilified the way those kids did at that age, I've got nothing but sympathy and outrage as well, really, just for what's gone on. But
do you know what the most tragic thing is, right? My friend that I used to go to school with here in West London, he fallen out of love with the sport. He was a Man United fan. His son now, because now he's had his kid's only 5 or 6, and obviously his kid's going into school playing football. His kid's a Chelsea fan. Was watching the Euros, so he's having to kind of get back into it for his son's sake, so to say. And he said to me a few days before, he actually called it. I can show you the WhatsApp messages. He said, "Yeah, imagine it goes to a penalty shootout and a black player misses a penalty. The response that you're going to see."
It's so sad that we talk that way and we feel that, but
it's inevitable. We've seen it all throughout the Premier League season as well. You know.
It happens, and I think the quicker things can be done, and it's not a football thing. It's more of, you know, it's a society thing at the end of the day. But look, I wanted to bring, you know, put my 2 pence worth in really, and just say that, you know, nothing but support and love for those kids and everything. And listen, you got to put it perspective, man. What was we doing at 19, between 19 and 23?
To give you perspective, right? I'm 22. So first of all, right, from what I can see, obviously you guys are black, so you've either experienced racism or you've seen it prominently, right? I'm white. I don't have the experiences you have, but the racism is coming from white people, and it disheartens me. As we said this on Gunner Court, that it sickens me that people my age, my color, are projecting this onto you guys. And especially, I can't imagine myself going to the Euros in the final and having the balls in front of 60,000 fans in a stadium and having 35 million people watching.
Listen, I know exactly.
It's disgusting.
Listen, I used to play semi-pro, and I took a penalty in FA Cup. I don't know what round it was. It was a pre at Bognor Regis, and I was pissing my pants. Do you know what I'm stepping up to? And that's a FA Cup game, you know, in the pre whatever round it was at Bognor Regis. So, you know, you can only think that these kids are walking up. Oh my gosh, we're so close to actually winning this trophy. 55 years. Everyone's watching me. The thousands here, the tens of thousands here, and plus the millions back home. But hey, listen.
All right, let me just jump in just 1 second before we move on, Canners. With regards to it, like, I feel obviously with the black players, race is being called in, but we need to look at society in general about how we laud these guys who are just football. And how quick we turn on them. It's not normal. Like, I remember Bex when he got sent off. Like, the torture and hate he went through was unbelievable. And people make mistakes, you know what I mean? It's disgusting, like, what people say. Same as Granit Xhaka. You lot know I'm not Granit Xhaka's best fan. But I ain't got nothing nice to say to him. Just don't say nothing. Like, why I've got to go on your page and tell you how bad you are, or say something about your kids, your wife, your family? Like, I really don't get it. Like, I don't know why some people are got so much hate in their heart that they feel the need to spew what they spew out. Like, as I said, this is not just on black players. This is on players in general. I remember Bex, like,
they were burning effigies of him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Filming themselves burning effigies of him and sending him death threats as well.
Yeah. And again, it does get bigger than just England, because you think back to the Colombia player who scored an own goal and got killed when he got back to his country. Do you know what I mean? So it's a society thing, and we need to realize these guys are just human beings who are good at sport. That's like me working in JD and selling you the wrong trainers, and now all of a sudden you got a hate campaign outside the shop and everyone's throwing stuff at me. Do you know what I mean? It's silly.
Hey, don't buy shoes from this kid.
I think as well, though, right? I think that this is the thing. Like, when I was speaking to Terry, like the day after, on the terrace as well, like that we were saying that, like, there is a responsibility amongst fans, amongst pundits, amongst fans, pundits. You know, like, this is why, for me, like, people like Keane and Souness, like, their style of punditry, I stick away from. Like, I'm not trying to, like, call them out or anything, but it's like, where it's being critical for being critical's sake, people don't see the correlation between that and this kind of, well, not, you know,
it's
like,
the same as the media, isn't it? Same as journalists, like,
because
the little indirect subliminal they put out.
it builds up. It snowballs. It snowballs. You know. Then we like the boundary goes from here to going up there a bit, then up there a bit, then up there a bit. The ante gets raised. You know, like. So I think
it's the same, but that is, you know what? It's modern society, social media, and mainstream media as well. So,
sorry, just one more thing, Canna. Sorry, just one more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I keep jumping in, but I just wanted to also say, I was reading Sancho's message you put out earlier, and I stopped reading it because I'm sitting there thinking, what have you got to apologize for?
Yes.
Like, why? Do you know what I mean? And this is the whole thing of, do you know what I mean? He's being treated the way he has. Yes, he's obviously sorry for missing the penalty, but it's not intent. It's football. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's why you've got to come out and apologize. It's horrendous. I read
Rashford did the same as well.
Yeah, and I'm reading it thinking, why are you apologizing? Like, you've done. Do you know what I mean? Nothing. It's part of the job description. There's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. Do you know what I mean? And it's
football is not a science. It's not a science, and you know, nobody intends to make a mistake.
Yeah, honestly, it broke my heart reading it. Like. I was trying to stay away from some of it, to be fair, if I'm honest, just because, like, mentally, it's just training all the time, reading this stuff. So I try and stay away from it as much as possible, not trying to turn a blind eye to it. But reading that, it broke me down, thinking he's being treated that way, and he feels the need to come out and apologize for. Do you know what I mean? You're talking
trying to do his job to the best of his ability. That's what he was apologizing for. He, you know.
I really feel like it shows you where their mindset is as well, and it actually they're blaming themselves. Like, I think it's actually deeper than we probably realised the psychological effect this is going to have on them.
You're going to have to step away from everything, from everyone. And you know what? Everyone's different. Some people are mentally strong. Some people are, do you know what I mean? Who will turn within themselves, and they're the ones we have to actually try and give the utmost support for.
Yeah, and I say hopefully when football starts back, the fans are and I hope whoever's playing where these boys get some big round of applause, because again the love is actually outshadowing the hate.
I am sure without a shadow of a doubt, if you do, and you probably will get some people that will boo them every time they touch the ball.
But I think the love will overshadow that. I really do.
The majority, the people will cheer them to drown those people out. And I
think what I've been hearing talk about is a guard of honor being done in our first home game against Chelsea.
Really?
I've been hearing talk about it.
That's it. And fair play to Hibbs as well. That was a nice touch with the shirt on about that. Really, That was a real nice touch.
That's where the hospitality stopped. But guys, look, what I want to do is actually move on. I know I didn't want to. It needed to be said, but I didn't want to delve into it too much. But you know, it had to be said. Listen, what I want to do now is actually talk about our man, our commander-in-chief, Mikel Arteta, and what he needs to do really for this season. Yes, fair enough. He didn't start yesterday too well. We spoke, you and I, Gumsy, briefly about the result. Now you're going to get all the banter FC kind of things coming out, etc., etc. But I sent out a tweet earlier, and what I want to just kind of say, this is my tweet that I sent out earlier, and it was, listen, this is all about perspective. Imagine us losing 1-0 to Peterborough, then a 0-0 draw against Barnet, then a 2-2 draw against an Austrian team called SC Reitzing. We will be going mental. We will be going nuts. By the way, that was pre-season 03-04. What I want to say with that, right, is the fact that we just surrendered our league championship to Man U, right, in that pre-season. And everybody was saying, no, we need this, we need the fox in the box, we need blah, 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 we need all of this. And, we're not, Wenger needs to spend some money, all that kind of stuff. But there was no social media as it was today. Twitter wasn't around, all that kind of stuff. No Instagram, all that kind of stuff. It was just all stuff, you might see on, like, I don't know, internet blogs. But it's very minimal. It was
like MySpace. That was the only one.
It was minimal. It was minimal at the end of the day. Right, yeah. And it is the way you'd get your news really is you'd read the papers, right?
Teletext.
Teletext maybe. Teletext.
James won't know about teletext, I don't reckon.
No.
I was born in '99. I have no idea.
It was like playing Pac-Man.
Gosh, you'd have to kind of type in the numbers on your TV.
I'll find you a YouTube video later and let you go watch it. It's hilarious.
But what I want to say is, right, and everybody's saying about, oh, you know what? Yeah, we only spent really money on Jens Lehmann, which is like $2.5 million on the goalkeeper, and then you had young players like Gael Clichy coming in. We gave actually in that 0-0 draw of Barnet, Yaya Toure played, and he was shocking. Had you bought him
on trial?
Yeah, it was on trial, and it would have been a case of, had you buying him for what the hell? So all I want to say is that, you know, for everyone, it's about perspective. Yes, it's not the ideal result, but James, I want to come to you. I mean, it seems like we do have a toxic fan base, but what does Arteta need to do? What does he? Is he getting things right? What does he need to do in order to kind of like, you know, pacify fans? In order to kind of say, look, do you know what? Look, just be calm for now. We'll wait and let's see what happens.
My honest opinion, there is nothing he can do to, unless it's a league title or a Champions League, there's nothing he can do where he won't get criticism. No. I think where we're at now, there's like us lot and a few others that are level-headed and see it as this is our club right now, and this is where we're at. And not holding on to, we were invincibles, we were league winners, this is where we should be, yada, yada, yada. Instead of really focusing on where we're at as a club. And there is so many things wrong with the club. If you want to go into the ownership, you wanted to go into the lack of spend, you want to go into, I don't know, the quality of the squad, whatever it is, you can't put all of this responsibility onto one man. No. And for me, I will judge Arteta on performances, but I won't judge him on performances in pre-season. For me, I would rather lose against Hibs now. I'd rather lose against the Rangers now instead of losing to Southampton in the Prem or Brighton in the Prem, where it actually matters. And for me, I'm going to base my opinion on Mikel Arteta on the backing he gets. If he gets full backing, I'm not going to say he will because it's Arsenal Football Club, right? They don't back managers. But
do you feel that there is an era change?
I think so. From what we're seeing, I'm not going to believe it until that player is holding the Arsenal shirt, like we've seen with Tavares, that we're going to see with Lokonga, that we might see with Ben White. If he gets, for example, hypothetically, Tavares, Lokonga, Ben White, a Basuma or a Neves, a James Maddison, and then a right back, then the pressure will be on him because we've spent significantly in the places that we needed to. Yep. Then it's a different story. Right now, I can't base my opinion on what I think our squad is going to be like until it's actually into fruition.
Yeah.
So for me, all I want to see is Arteta moving players out, bringing players in, promoting youth, seeing our academy and seeing what youth players that we have that we might go, okay, this player is pretty good. We might see him in a year's time or 2 years' time that might break into the first team like Saka's done, like Smith Rowe has done, and integrate the new players that we're going to be getting into the setup. For me, that's all I can care about, and I'm not looking too deep into the fact we lost to Hibs. It's a preseason game. Everyone is overreacting. Arteta out was trending on Twitter. Like,
how can it trending? That's
like, it's not healthy.
No. So really that's my opinion on Arteta. Like, I'm not pro Arteta. I will back him because he is the Arsenal manager, and I will continue to back him until he's no longer the Arsenal manager.
Yeah.
But I will be critical of him. If he's not performing, then I will say, okay, look, we might need to change our stance on Arteta. We might need to look elsewhere, like an Antonio Conte, for example. But that's where I'm at with him. I'm really relaxed. Like, I'm enjoying my summer. Arsenal need to do what they need to do, and I'm chilling.
No, I did you know what? Whatever you hit the nail on the head there. I think I'm pretty much in the same boat as yourself, James, in the sense that I'm not Arteta in, I'm not Arteta out at the end of the day. I'm just biding my time. And I guess I'm going to come to you, Gumzo, in the sense that I feel that there's an era change in regards to the actual board looking to do something. However, my trepidation is that should things be done already? Are we missing a trick here with not doing our things? So, you know, we're notoriously slow with getting our prime targets. could Arteta be missing a trick here to try and, you know what, change the kind of like sceneries, you know, or the actual intention, you know, our traditions, get things done quick, get everyone integrated for pre-season, have a settled team, squad, whatever, and then hit the first game, you know, running.
So for me, in hindsight, yes. In an ideal world, 100%, get things done early.
Yep.
In reality, even if we signed Ben White 2 weeks ago, we're not going to see him until 2-3 weeks anyway. So actually, it doesn't. You know what I mean? It's nice to know what you've got, but at the same time, in the grand scheme of things, he wouldn't be seen anyway because now he's finished the Euros. We might be able to get it done in the next day or two, couple of days, but he will be probably flying out on his holiday soon. He will have 2-3 weeks away before he returns back. So this year is going to be an awkward one anyway because with Copa America, with the Olympics, with the Euros, there's going to be players coming back at a staggered rate. So
Confederations Cup as well.
Yeah,
players like Basuma.
I mean, like pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, there is some players.
I mean, if he is an actual target of ours, should we not have him that all done already?
Yeah. Again, I think I'd rather us not rush for rush's sake. So don't get me wrong. I think Basuma would be a great signing for us. Obviously, I feel he's probably second or third choice on Arteta's list. I do feel Locatelli's probably. I think Locatelli's first choice.
Okay.
Fact tabled a bid, and again, it's just playing the waiting game with Juventus and Swassa. I don't know how to say their name, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so I think it's playing the waiting game. I don't know if I agree with Neves being second, but I feel he's in the mix, and then it's Basuma. I feel again we don't know with the talks what happens behind the scenes. It doesn't look like anyone else is going in for Basuma, so I feel it gives him a bit of a leeway to be patient. I remember the year we signed Granit Xhaka. We actually done that one pretty quickly. I think the season ended and he was there. Maybe even before the season ended, we had signed and secured it.
And then we had the Euros.
Yeah, and then if you remember, so I think we got it done early, and then it became available that Kante's available for 30 million, and we are blowing our 35 on Xhaka. So at the same time, football's a funny thing. Do you know what I mean? You never know what's going to happen or who's going to become available. So again, you know me, I'm quietly optimistic. I would like, just for the excitement, like getting transfers in. It is a good feeling when you see players come in, watch the videos and stuff. But at the same time, I don't want to rush. And then all of a sudden, a player becomes unsettled somewhere who's a better player. And we actually could have spent the money there. So again, these things are in hindsight. Also, what I don't want is to wait and then someone like Man United say, okay, we can't get Declan Rice. Let's go and get Basuma. And they get it signed up within 2 days. And all of a sudden we're then... And again, that's the same thing with Mahrez, wasn't it? We hesitated. We tried to hold on to Alexis. Then by the time we went back for and said we'll sell Alexis to City, Leicester said naturally we're not selling Mahrez, or they sold to City, and again we then messed up and we missed the player. So I don't want us to be too slow, but I do feel sometimes it's actually not in our control. It could be the player saying, "I'm not talking to after the Euros," or "I'm going on holiday first, then come and talk to me." Or the club might be saying, actually, we're not selling just yet because we need to secure our target. So I do think it's bigger than just we're waving a checkbook around and we're signing this person. Also, I think we haven't got massive money like Chelsea, who will say, do you know what, we'll just pay it in one go. We do have to be a bit more tactical with how we do spend it. And there's an element we need to sell before we could probably get in some as well. So I do feel we haven't been linked with a right back. So I think the right back's probably one is when we get rid of whatever we need to get rid of, that's when we probably then go for a right back. I think regardless of what we sell, I think they've obviously targeted a centre back and a centre midfielder. Regardless what goes out the door, I think that is the prime targets. And then if we do sell some and Bellerin does leave, then I think we then go for a right back. So yeah, 6 weeks, it is a long time in transfers. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't get too
6 weeks sometimes will go like that.
Yeah. So, but hopefully, I've got a bit of faith in them. I do feel, as I said before, on Gunner King Court as well, the players we're getting linked with is refreshing compared to what we've had in the past 10, 15 years. So that to me shows we're trying to do things a bit different. Yes, we're still doing it the Arsenal way, taking time and trying to save here, buy one, get one free. Can I get 30% off this one? And can I put that one on Klarna? All of that, we always do. I do think we will get some bits done. I do feel we get some bits over the line. So yeah, it's just being patient.
Yeah. Gunner King. I mean, what I want to, in regards to how we know the players that we need in the squad to add to the squad, what Arteta needs. Does Arteta need to change his approach tactically from a tactical perspective as well, in the way that we're set up? And with the players that he's hoping to get in, do you think that will achieve what he actually wants, or what you think that he wants to achieve with those particular players that he's looking to get in?
Yeah, so I think what he's looking to do is bring players in that can give him fluidity between different starting positions. So 4-2-3-1 and 4-3-3, I think, is what he wants to flip between. Also, with Ben White, you've also got an option of maybe going with a back three sometimes as well. I think Arteta is one of those managers that has that continental style that likes to be able to kind of line up his team dependent on the opposition, like who he's facing up against. Sometimes that's at his detriment, as we saw against Villarreal, but that's what he does. So I think the players he's looking to bring in are going to be offering him quality, but also fluidity between systems. I think that one thing I wanted to point out about the Hibs game yesterday, if you look at some of the players that started, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, he's been linked with a move away. Nketiah, he's been linked with a move away. Willian, been linked with a move away. Kolasinac, been linked with a move away. Bellerin, been linked with a move away. So all these Arteta outers, and as I said, I'm neither for or against that. My whole thing is Kroenke out. But if you look at those 5 players, there's not a huge amount of interest in them. So why would you pass up the opportunity to play them, to get them in the shop window?
Yeah.
Anyone that plays Football Manager, FIFA, anything like that knows, pre-season, you're arranging 10 friendlies and you're basically playing all of your fringe players, and then you're waiting for the offers to come in. That's how it works. It's an unfortunate situation, but I know for a fact he's not playing those 5 players. If they're still here, they're not going to have the same free route to the first team that they did yesterday. No chance.
I don't think they're going to be involved in any kind of. I think I can't see it personally.
No, so I think a huge thing of what he's got to do is he's got to manage that situation. Freeing up those 5 players. It's not just what it can offer you in terms of your transfer budget, what you can go to market for. It's your wage bill. Your wage bill is reduced drastically, and rather than being perspective and saying like, okay, we know we're going to get rid of this player, we know we're going to get rid of that player, let's buy this player now. It's a case of like, if we buy that player and we don't get rid of those players, now we've inflated our wage bill and we got the same problem that we've spent the whole last year to 18 months trying to rein in. So I think,
do you think he's getting the right help from the team? Because there is a team, right? He has, of lawyers, etc. Negotiating deals, etc., and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, Eddie doing things as well. Is he getting enough help from those guys?
I think him and Edu tried to be the alpha and the omega of too many things when they came in. That is just my thoughts. I think Edu was trying to negotiate contracts and negotiate with players and agents and all of this stuff, and he's not even worked as a technical director before. Let's be honest. And Arteta's not worked as a manager, and he's expected to kind of work with him to identify targets. It's like, I think what has excited me is bringing in Richard Garlick. He's working really closely with that law guy, to extend Tierney's contract, which in itself, is a new signing. Committing him to a 5-year contract.
I agree.
Some might call it death row one. He had 3 years left on his deal. That kind of
that's the things you have to do to secure your assets at the end of the day. So if it does come to it and his head does get turned, then at least then you can maximize
what you're going to get from him.
Exactly.
I think
that's good forward thinking from them.
And I think what is not so much what Arteta needs to do. I don't think it's fair to look at it from a perspective of this is what Arteta needs to do to make us successful. it's a collective thing. So I see that as the board and the Kroenkes being proactive in bringing in that backroom staff in terms of looking at how we scout players, how we coach players. You know, we've brought in a new loan manager. The way that we loan out players, you know, as Gums has said, is completely different now. You have to come in with a holistic kind of, almost a business plan
presentation
and present that, you know, this is where this player would fit in, you know. So they're looking at how they're loaning players out and why, and, you know, how they can maximize what they're getting from the youth system as well. So I think really what I think Arteta needs to do is to buy into all of that being fitted around him as quickly as possible. Get used to working with these guys and their different kind of their different needs, you know, because they're all going to have competing interests, you know, like amongst each other. So bringing all of that together so that everyone's working on the same page, I think this is the most important thing that Arteta needs to do going into next season.
I couldn't agree more. And I guess, James, then what we could say is then is he has all these people working with him, trying to get, but ultimately what comes down for him though is actually results on the pitch and making sure he's getting his tactics absolutely spot on. Because I do think the team behind him is set up. Whether or not they're set up to succeed, time will tell in terms of what we do this summer. But from a footballing sense, I guess the question is, have we seen anything, or are we confident that he can get it right going forward?
Circumstances, yes, and then circumstances, no. Like, you've seen Wenger struggle against the top six, Emery struggle against the top six. Arteta has been really good against the top six, in my opinion. He's gotten us results. That's the change that I've seen in our performances. However, what I have seen on the flip note is Emery could get a performance against the lower sides. So could Wenger. Arteta struggles. I think from what I can see is from our play style, I'm not overly enthusiastic about it. We're good against the good teams because the good teams have better squads than us. We're allowing them to go, okay, you have the ball. We have pace up front. We'll score against you. We did it against United. We did it against Chelsea. The transition now for me is, as Gunnar said, and you asked him, how does Arteta need to change his style? I think that style will change in cohesion with when we get new players. He's come in with a post-Wenger, a post-Emery squad that's really bloated, that has a lot of dead wood, that we have chopped and changed. And let's be honest, over the past 3 transfer windows, last January, well, the 2 seasons, sorry, we'll say, we've gotten rid of so many players that were just eating up a wage bill. Now that we've gotten rid of them, we can now, I think, add the quality. And even though Europe, people are saying, it's the first time we haven't had Europe in, I think it's like 26 years, whatever it is. For me, it's what this squad needed.
I was going to ask that question.
I think it's a take a step back to take a step forward. Get rid of the players you don't want because you can't offer them the game time, so they're not going to want to stick around now. Right. They're going to want to play. Now, the fact that you've got a reduced squad, we can add 5 or 6 players, maybe 4 first-team quality that are going to take us up a level, and then prospects like we've done with Nuno Tavares and Lokonga that are going to be in a couple of seasons' time competing, that we got for a really good price. And I think if we're basing Arteta, we have to look at our squad now and put it into context with the other teams in the league. If you're looking at our squad from a perspective of right now, we maybe have the 8th or 9th best team in the league. Let's be honest, right? It's really, really bad to say that, but we do. If we're going to have the transfer window I think we're going to have, we might get 5th. I don't think we're getting top 4. I think 4 teams are better than us. I think City's better than us. United's definitely better than us. Chelsea's definitely better than us. And Liverpool's definitely better than us. Spurs, I don't think so. Leicester, if we get Maddison, I definitely don't think so. And then you have West Ham, you have Everton, you have Villa, right? You have these fringe teams that are going to make up from...
on their day, they can do something on their day.
They do. They will upset a big team like Palace do it a lot and this kind of thing. So... for my expectations on Arteta, if is going to be 5th if we can get the players that we're linked to. If we don't get the players that we're linked to, then if I'm being completely honest, I have no hope whatsoever. Like,
no. That's a fair assessment. Because the thing is, my feeling is right now we're 8th after a 38-game season, coming 8th. You're there for a reason, because you're the 8th best team. You know your squad's not good enough. There's no depth, and I think you hit the nail there on the head with regards to Europe. Now, if we can have one thing. I've said it a few times now, and Gumza and King probably bored to death with me saying the last time I can remember wheeling off a first 11, our best first 11 was the 03-04 Do you know what I mean? I could just wheel it off. From there on, after that, I have no idea who, you know, to say, oh my gosh, such and such not playing. Okay, such and such is playing, and he's not a bad replacement. Right now, I don't know our best first 11, and that's one of the things which this season actually could bring about, because there is not much football, and the thing is now we will be championing for, you know, doing as well as we can in the league, and it might be, as you know, a blessing in disguise. I just want to get through a couple of the comments that have come in. Before moving to you, Gonzo, I've got a quick question for you. You know, moving on. James, this is for you, James. Teletext page 302 for football news. So this was back in the day, man. You'd go to, I don't know if that was a BBC One teletext page or the ITV teletext page, but you'd type in a number, boom, transfer gossip or whatever will come up. And I guess Gems again. This is from regarding Arteta. He needs to ask Pep for a little reference. Listen, do you know what? The good thing about Arteta is that I feel that he's always willing and ready to learn. He can, and I'm pretty sure he does tap into, you know, Pep's master coaching. You know, they talk. And I know that he talks to Wenger as well. They all talk. So I'm pretty sure he's trying to get some insight as to how they work and how to deal with, the, you know, squads, etc., etc. Mr. Silver Fox, yeah, exactly, James. I said this last week. No, Europe is a blessing in disguise, and it could be. But the only thing which I'm fearing now, right, is the fact that, which is born out of having no Europe, is possibly we may not be in for certain players like your Camavinga might have been a player that we could have gone for, you know, who could have been a, you know, something different, you know, alternative to Basuma, or even Locatelli. His heart's set on Juve, but the fact that we don't have any Europe, let alone, you know, Champions League, let alone Europe, is pretty much going against us in us trying to get someone like Locatelli. And
I think as well, just to go back to your question quickly, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
No, go ahead.
In terms of like the speed of the transfers, that's ultimately going to slow it down, right? Because we got to cast a wider net. You know, we're not where we used to be, where we can just go in for a player and it's like, right, you got Europe, you're attractive. You know, like you've got your history and your legacy to kind of leverage off on top of being in Europe. Now that's the only thing we're leveraging off, our legacy, our history. So, you know, Locatelli, you know, a season or two ago, probably we would have been more appealing to him, even with Europa League football. Yeah, because that's something that Swarzelo don't get consistently, you know. Whereas now it's like he's playing the waiting game for Juventus, who do have Champions League football, but they're broke. So it's like we're like, what do we do? You know, like, do we get another midfielder, and then it turns out Juventus can't afford him, and then we've missed out on him when he was our top target. So these things are going to affect because we're not in Europe. So that we're going to do our transfers at. Hossam Aouar is another player that I've heard is waiting for a club to come in that can offer him European football. Who has then said, if there isn't one at the end of the window, then I'll probably move to Arsenal. That's the noise that I'm hearing. So again, you know, like, and it's like, do you wait for that? Because if someone comes in right at the end, then we've waited until the end with no backup. You know, so we have to tentatively have deals lined up for about 10 players, 15 players, because then what we've got to be able to go to is a plan B straight away. Yeah, if you see what I mean, because we've made that mistake before as well.
Yeah.
I think also, sorry, just to jump in, I think with us not having Europe, I know it's not great, as you said, we can't attract like the Kamavingers, the Awars to be our first choice. But for me, it's really allowing us to see Arteta and Adu do their job. Because if we can't offer the players the number one, right, okay, we're going to give you Champions League football, they're going to be, right, okay, we're going to wait. So it's going to be, I think we're going to do a more thorough job in our recruitment process. It's not just, okay, this is our number one prospect. Camavinga is amazing. He's 18, highly rated. We're going to go, okay, we want to do this player, Neves, or we want to look at Basuma, and we're going to have to think why. And then we're going to have to pay, as Gunnar said, if a bigger team comes in, we have to be worried. So we're going to have to do a due diligence on, okay, right, if we can't get X player, what's the next player that's a similar profile that can come into our squad and do this? And that's why I think we're going to do a better, thorough process.
We're going to be looking at 3 or 4 similar profiles for each position. And we're going to be in discussions with all of them for each position. So you look at it, we're in contact with through Mendes, as we were saying on Gunnar King Court, for Ruben Neves and Wolverhampton. But at the same time, we're in contact with Swazilo's sporting director and Swazilo for Locatelli. And at the same time, we've got back channels where we're in conversations with Basuma. That's all the midfield position, the central midfield. Imagine that for the right back, the number 10, a left-sided player, a left back. Times that by that's like 25, 30 players that we're having to tentatively speak to clubs and representatives for.
And try and
it's mental. You can't just snap your fingers and do that stuff, man.
It's crazy. I think, let me get through some of these comments and then we'll jump straight back into it. McSauce, let's have a better defense and goalkeeper plus indeed. I think they're probably also talking about us finishing 5th or 6th. Yeah, I mean, their defense. Sorry,
if it depends who we sign. If we get Basuma and we get Ben White, then arguably, okay, we have Kieran Tierney, we have Leno, we have Gabriel, we have White, we have Basuma. And if we add a new right back, then you might be saying, this is what I was saying, our squad isn't now, but if you talk about it, it might be.
I hate to say it, but I think personally, Leicester's squad is better than ours at the moment. They've added Daka and Samari as well, so they kind of.
But the only thing is that you just don't know how they're going to fit into the Premier League. You really don't know.
We already know how Tielemans, Maddison, Harvey Barnes, who came through.
Harvey Barnes took a while to come through, to be fair.
Pereira, Soyuncu at the back. Kasper Schmeichel's just had a very good Euros. I don't want to pick them up too much, but listen, they've done some good recruitment.
On our day, we can do them. We've done them at the ground.
The key to it is, though, they're playing Thursday, Sundays. And I don't care what anyone says, that does take its toll. And they haven't got the biggest squad. They have got a bit of depth.
But they've got quality in the right areas.
Yeah, I agree. Their 11's very good.
Improving very.
I agree with it. Their 11's good, but it does make a difference when all of a sudden you're getting into a game Thursday and then you're saying, actually, I can't play Ndidi this Sunday because I've got to rest him. So Amarty's got to come in. That straight away weakens you. Dennis Pratt comes in for Tielemans. There's them little things.
They're little
over a season, it does.
Yep.
It does cost you. Again, if you look back at years gone by, now don't get me wrong, I don't blame, in Emery where we just missed out on 4th and everyone went mad because he played El Nene and the rest of it. I don't necessarily blame El Nene for that because actually if the guys who start week in, week out done their job earlier, it wouldn't have come down to the last 2 games in the season.
Of course, no.
You shouldn't be relying on them. But again, it shows you what happens when you do have to rotate that squad in a game. And it could cost you. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, Leicester missing out on Champions League in the last 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah, it comes back every year.
It's been due to injury crisis in the last 2.5.
In the last couple of games, yeah.
So you just
Harvey Barnes got 13 goals, something like that, and he got injured like January, February, or something like that.
Yeah, their team towards the end of the season, they were struggling. They're playing like left backs at left wing and stuff to get through. So it does. When you're in Europe, it does take its toll.
Of course,
a bit. So. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, it will take its toll. Everton now have King Rafa, so that's going to be very interesting from James there. And I think that's right. But I'm not sure. how they're doing in transfer market, because obviously they're going to look to strengthen as well. But one thing I did hear about Barcelona going in for, was it Barcelona and Real going in for Richarlison? That'd be a massive blow if he does.
I think Real Madrid are, because Ancelotti's gone there. Yeah,
that's right.
So,
yeah.
But I think Everton are looking at Barcelona's Clement Langley, the French.
Oh, really?
Terrible. I hate him.
Okay.
Hey, I'm not a fan.
Is it Chelsea Fan TV? Guys, big up yourself, RCBN. Nice to have you on. Adam, on his thoughts, I don't think Arsenal are too far away from the top four. Just a couple of players who can come in and impact. Yeah, I think we're probably more than a couple of players, if I'm being honest. Yeah, we're more than a couple of players. I can't even sugarcoat that. But thank you.
The thing is, it's not just like we have this unhealthy and this unrealistic expectation of players coming into a league and acclimatizing. Like, not everyone's going to be like Bruno Fernandes, who's just going to come like from January and just bam, hit the ground running. You know, I think last season we saw the best of Pepe. You know, he come with I've never doubted his quality. But coming from the French league and making the step up into the English one is always going to be a big step up. And the thing is, if we're not going to be buying or paying the premium for too many Premier League proven players, we're going to be recruiting people from other leagues and expecting them to just turn it on. But it's not, doesn't happen.
And I think because most of the players we're, I guess, linked with are from the Premier League, I think kind of makes that kind of point that, you know what, we need something now, which is pretty much tried and tested. So I don't know. I guess the time will tell. Arsenal need a goalkeeper who can play out the back like Martinez. I'm not sure how good Martinez is playing out from the back, to be honest. I mean, he's decent enough, but I don't think that was his forte. I think Leno's okay. He's obviously not.
You guys know my thoughts on this man.
Let's move on. I think we all feel the same about that.
Everyone's got to have a goalkeeper that can be Ronaldinho on the ball. Like, it makes no sense. Like, a goalkeeper is a shot stopper. Can he shot stop? Yes. Can he not? No. Then he's not good.
He's got to be able to kick. I'm telling you, he's got to be able to play.
But listen, if he can roll a 5-yard ball to the fullback,
it's bigger than that,
and distribute out, then
it's bigger than that. Now I'm telling you now,
the game's changed.
He's got to be able to play, because again, what you see the problem with Arsenal is teams can press us there because they're not fearful of him picking passes there and there. You watch Ederson and that, they say, all right, you come and press my back line, I'll just go over your head and I'll hit someone in midfield. And all of a sudden, we're now playing forward.
But the thing is, there are many different styles of play that you can consign yourself to.
Yeah, but it's very difficult. If your goalkeeper can't find you in certain areas, I'm telling you now, it invites the press. Because teams, but that's no good, because now they got possession again. We watched England the other day, and I guarantee everyone moaned. Everyone watching England said England threw it away because we sat back and we just kept giving Italy the ball. And they said, thank you very much. And they're coming at you. You need to be able to play out through the press. And it's vital a keeper. Pickford gave Grealish a pass in one of the earlier games and gets in the middle of the park, and he's put on a sixpence for him, and England are on the front foot straight away.
You're going to have 3 forwards in the face of every single fullback and every defender. There is always going to be a 5-yard roll the ball to, or a simple. There's always going to be a simple pass on, right? And as long as the goalkeeper can make a simple
I'll be honest, Chris. I set my team up how we play now. I've got under 15s, and they're not pros. But if you see how we set up, we target one player, and we mark everybody else. We overload one side of the pitch, say hit the left back, and I target him, and my right back comes for him, and he slams him, again. And when he's coming for him, the left midfield, the right winger's coming from as well. And we literally target one area, and teams hate it because we're saying you're not playing anywhere else. You're playing into him. And my right back saying, give it to him. Go on, give it to him. And he's the only one that's free, and we're going to target him. And that's what, when you watch teams play, they target Bellerin. If you watch us play, how many times do they set up, and also it goes to Bellerin, and now they close in on him? It's setting traps. And you, as a keeper, you need to be able to pick passes. You need to. It's so important. So important.
But, I think there's other areas of the team we need to strengthen much more.
No,
I do agree with that. I wouldn't say Leno's.
I'm not saying that. I don't think right now we need to buy a new goalkeeper. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think that is something that is immediate at all.
I think
I don't see that as the biggest contributor to our problems. Is what I'm saying.
Sorry, go on, James. You go.
I think with Leno, it's the fact of he is a good shot stopper, but we've seen the way Arteta wants to play, and that is with a ball playing goalkeeper. And I think it's a case of how many points is Leno going to earn us with his saving ability, and how many points is he going to cost us with his ball playing ability? And for me, right now, it's not. We don't need to upgrade, but in a season, I think we should be looking to.
Yeah. And again, it's the same thing with the Ben Wright situation. We've all sat there and said that's probably the one area we didn't think we needed players, but for some reason Arteta's identified it. Right. And in time will tell. We might look back at it and think, if only we had got a ball playing goalkeeper, we might be even further forward. Or we might say that was a waste of time buying Ben White because actually we didn't get better on the ball, and Rob Holding took his place again, and all of a sudden we're now looking for another centre back again. So
having more ball playing centre backs takes the pressure off the goalkeeper needing to be a footballer. If your defenders are more comfortable on the ball, playing out of the press or carrying the ball out of the press, Maguire and Stones were two of the highest ball progressors in the tournament from carrying the ball out of defense. Because they got that comfort. Then the goalkeeper, all he needs to do is to be able to distribute it to him.
But that also goes into
more competent ball playing defenders from one fullback to the other with two centre backs in between. What does it matter what my goalkeeper can do with his feet?
It matters because if I know your goalkeeper can't kick, I will happily press your back four because you're not getting out of there. I'll press with 5 if I need to because I know the only ball they've got is going back to the keeper, and if he can't drop it on a sixpence somewhere else, we're comfortable. So it works both. You said Maguire and Stones were the most progressive and whatever else you said, fair enough. But when it comes to Italy putting pressure on, there was no progression. There was no progression. So actually, it's very easy when you're playing against teams who aren't gonna press you high up. But you're playing Liverpool, you're playing City, who are gonna press you all over the park at tempo. Actually, yes, it's press. It goes to my keeper. All of a sudden, he unlocks it. So sometimes in an ideal world, it might be a centre back who unlocks the pass. But there's going to be times where he gets it, his only passes into the keeper, and it's down the keeper's job. How many times has Edison done it? Do you know what I mean? How many times has Edison done it?
I'm going to get through some of these chats here and just quickly. James, as a Liverpool fan, I was worried that it looked unsure we were going to get Champions League due to the effect it would be possibly having on potential transfer targets. One season out in Europe isn't awful, but 2 will be. I think we need to be in Europe next season. Mr. Silver Fox, following from my last comment, remember when Chelsea finished 10th, they still managed to attract players. True.
They spent mad, though. They spent so much.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous amount. RCBN, I'm trying to think. Arsenal need a new manager, to be honest, but good luck. I doubt if top players can be attracted this summer.
Can I just debunk this funny thing that I hear about us not attracting?
No, I don't think there's a problem. I don't.
There's no problem
because I just want to say very quickly: when we signed Kieran Tierney, Celtic could afford him Champions League football, right? He came a Scottish champion, right? Thomas Partey. He came from Atletico Madrid last season. They had challenged for the title the previous season and won it this season. Aubameyang, he left a team that had finished second in the German league that was consistently challenging for the title in Germany and getting Champions League football. I mean, there's so many players that we've done that with. Like it's, I
think the biggest
Balogun going the other way. Everyone in Europe wanted to sign him last seson. Yeah, he's renewed his contract. People underestimate the.
We do not have a problem. The only problem I will say, and it is a small problem, is that listen. As soon as we get Champions League football back again, it will be ridiculous again. The amount of players that are going to start wanting to come back and play for our club. Yes, at the moment there is that little bit of lull because we're not in Europe. But we still can attract the caliber of player that we need to succeed and to get on and kick on. I have not got any issues with that. again, this is he's talking about Chelsea. They won the league the season after. RCBN again. Yes, Leicester look stronger to last season. The season higher. And I'm just gonna come out of here.
Depends if we get back.
You and Arsenal too impatient, letting new managers settle in and expecting too much too soon. Everyone laughed at us and Klopp first 2 seasons.
I agree with that.
Yeah. This is Arteta's second full season, right? Fair enough.
Yeah.
Last season, okay, but look, we need improvement, and I'm pretty sure he'll deliver improvement.
Unlike Arteta, Klopp didn't have to deal with COVID and the impact of it either in his first season.
Yeah,
spending
the circumstances very artificial. I mean, us losing so many games at home. That last season is an absolute anomaly.
It was one of the first seasons where teams won more games away from home.
What does that mean? That's ridiculous. So we'll see. RCBN again, in my opinion, playing out from a goalkeeper's overrated. He first needs to dive, kick, and save shots well. Anything more should be seen as a bonus. Czech was world class for us, but couldn't play. That's okay. But the thing is, though, the game is changing. Though I mean, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, King. Right? But the game is changing. And when Czech tried it, he was atrocious at it, and he had to go. He was abysmal for us.
So I don't remember if you guys remember a time when Wenger used to play,
trying to get people to do things they can't do.
It's football. Football is changing. Do you remember when Wenger used to play Bentner right wing?
Yeah.
And again, if you're going back to that, your keeper could be whoever it is, because I remember Bentner used to play right wing, and we used to just sling it up to him because he's playing against a left back. So the left back's never going to be taller or better than the air than him, and he'll bring it down, and we'll play from there. So again, if you're setting up like that, it's fine. The keeper could pick them.
Just keep pinging it, because
he's pinging it, and he's going to win it. Yeah. So if you're playing like that, so Burnley style, the keeper doesn't need to be able to kick. But if you're talking about dominating possession, then it is part. It's the same thing of having a left-footed centre back now, where in yesteryear we didn't care if your left back, your centre backs were all left-footed or right-footed. If they could defend, tackle, win the ball, win headers, that's what they have to do. Now it's
different. You want a left-sided centre back, and you want a right-sided back. You want that tandem in place because it plays into the way that you want to play.
Even the wingers, even wingers. When we was growing up, there was never inverted winger and a left-footed winger plays on the right, and vice versa. If you was a winger, Gunner, you was a winger. You're on the right-hand side. You're right-footed. Do you know what I mean? You're on the right-hand side. If you had a left footer, he was laughing because he's the only one that's going to play on the left, so he's always going to start either left back or left wing. Whereas now you're looking at your wingers. Actually, they're sometimes your main goal scorers. So football's evolving all the time, and
always change. Something else.
I definitely hear that. But I'm just saying, I just don't think that having a goalkeeper that can't, I'm talking like Leno can do the basics with his feet. Like he's not no Alisson or Ednison, but he's not terrible with his feet.
No, he's not. I think right now, I think we don't need to get paid right now. I think we do what we need to do this season, and it'll be. Do you know what? Now, hopefully, then this time next year we can say, okay, what areas can we, improve that bit more? And a goalkeeper might well be that one where we kind of say, do you know what? Let's now have a goalkeeper good enough with his hands, etc., and as well as his feet, and Leno would then have to go.
I think Leno. There's been a highlight on Leno last season because of the players that are in front of him: Luiz, Xhaka, not Kolasinac because he hasn't played. But I think if we address those areas, Ben White, Ruben Neves, the players that are similar profiles but don't have the errors in them, you will see Leno in a much better. I don't think you're going to see him based on, he's given the ball away or he hasn't stayed this, because we're going to face less shots. We're going to face less opposition that are going to be able to pounce on an individual error. And I think as kind of said, that next season is when we look to improve. And I think, as what you said, Gunnar, I know Leno he's not bad, but he's not great. But if you're thinking modern era when we were successful, right? The reason being is because Wenger was so good at nutrition and fitness and physios, and he introduced all of this stuff, right?
He was the head of the curve.
If we're comparing to the top teams we're at now, they have players that have these characteristics and playing ability that we don't have. So if we're going to get to where we were and where we want to be, we need to be thinking on the same mold City or Chelsea.
But
or these kind of teams.
again, just to touch on what James is saying as well.
It's midfield, fullback, number 10, maybe a left-sided player. Now we've got the cover at left back. I'm not looking at any of those areas and thinking we need a ball-playing goalkeeper more than we need to sort out.
No one's saying that. No one's saying that.
And we're not going to sort out those areas in one. We probably won't even sort out those players in one window. So it's just like, why are we trying to fix something that's less broken?
Yeah, I'll be right. I think Leno's had a good season. There's times where I do think he's put under pressure, but equally, it's that element of if you've got a goalkeeper who can pick them passes, teams will not press the same because they know if we go too high, it's a problem behind us. So what you'll find is them teams will say, right, let's drop back 5 and almost let them have the ball in certain areas because actually it's more of a threat pressing them a bit higher. And again, I'm not saying Leno is the big issue. James is saying, I think, do you know what? You've heard me call Xhaka a coward many a times. Yep. He doesn't want the ball from the keeper. So actually, Leno's options now are limited to, oh my God, there's two centre backs. So if you now got someone saying to me, give me that, all of a sudden now you've got 3 options. Now, where do I go and press?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just causes them, it makes teams think a little bit harder. And it takes, if you've got a boy who's saying, even under pressure, give me it, I'll take the pressure off you. That is, I played centre back. So when I played with midfielders, you say to me, listen, if there's a man there, just trust me, give me the ball. Do you know how nice it feels just knowing if I'm in danger, I could give it to him and he's going to look after it and we can move again. So those little things, and that's why I do think that's why I think Arteta is looking at Locatelli or Ruben Neves before Basuma because it's that element. Yeah, it just takes a bit of pressure off everybody else where actually I give it to him and I know it's safe.
On the ball in tight areas.
So important. So important.
Yeah, I think because the goalkeeping distribution is less of a question then. They drop in deeper, they create an overload in your defensive third, you can't press everyone, so then they either go to mark that midfielder, then it's going to give the space for the other defenders.
Someone else,
And if you're raising profile as well of the defenders and their ability to play out of the press and carry the ball out of the press, like say Ben White, which is he's doing at the same time, then what you're seeing is I'm having more players in different areas of the pitch that are more comfortable in the football. So I can worry about the goalkeeper last. If I've got that in defence, I've got that in midfield, then I can come back to that later. But if I don't have it, it's all well and good having a goalkeeper that can distribute. But if your defenders and your midfielders are not comfortable on the ball, it doesn't matter because they're going to lose it.
Yeah, because again, he can bypass them and not going too much. If you look at Arsenal this time last year, remember how many goals we scored from playing out from the back? Because teams are a bit wary, thinking, hold on, they're doing well with this, and they backed off us. And then I think they realised, actually, match them up, go 1-for-1, and they can't do it. And all of a sudden, we couldn't break through the press no more. Like, we had scored a few goals end of last season, beginning of this season, where we were cutting teams open. And again, that's probably not involving Leno because it's going centre back and great patterns and we're gone. All of a sudden, they said, actually, let's press them. And then all of a sudden, you saw it was ineffective. Do you know what I mean? And again, it comes with time. I think one team sussed out City, and then a lot of teams started sussing out City, and all of a sudden, it was like they had to change what they were doing a bit. And then that's where you did start seeing Edison say, right, yeah, you don't keep pressing us. I hit him over there. And how many times did he release Sterling or somebody? So I'm telling you, having that weapon, yes, is not a massive thing for us right now, but at the same time, if there isn't, the same thing with Aubameyang, we don't utilise his pace enough. So teams are comfortable pressing us nice and high because they're not fearful what's coming in behind them.
If you look at Liverpool and City, they got those goalkeepers last.
Okay,
yeah, right. They
I want to come off goalkeepers now.
That was it.
I want to come off goalkeepers now. I think at the end of the day, we know that a goalkeeper's not a top priority for us. I think this is something we'll probably revisit next season. Maybe not, depending on how it all pans out at the end of this season. I mean, there's a few more chats there. If a goalkeeper can't pass on about, he'll clear the ball instead. Hey, I guess that's old school style. RCBN, well, going back to obviously us, Chelsea, when they finished 10th, well, we won the league in 2017 when we didn't have Europe. That should be motivation enough for Arsenal. And do you know what? Let's see what happens. I mean, to be fair, they had a quite tried and tested coach in what's his name? Conte, isn't it? So so we see. Thanks, Jem. She said RCBM, don't give them false hope. Yeah, right. Listen, I think we've pretty much know what Arteta needs to do. Not by a goalkeeper just yet. I think that is a first. But listen, I am quietly confident, right, to say I'm happy to wait until the end of this window. And I believe he knows what he needs in order to play the way that he wants to play. I think they're the key areas that we've discussed. I guess the last question I want to ask you one by one before we actually close this out is Gumza, where are we going to end up? If we get actually two questions. If we don't get the players that we need, and if we do get the players we need,
I'm gonna go. If we don't get the players, 6th.
Oh.
If we do get the players, I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna go 3rd.
Wow, that's
Mr. Optimistic. Mr. Optimistic. I'm gonna go 3rd.
He said that with his chest. I think I'll let Gunner King calm down there for a sec. James, same question.
If we don't, then 8th. Like, we just don't have right now. We don't have the squad. I just don't think we're going to get higher than 8th. If we get the players we're looking at, take a leaf out of Gum's book, maybe 4th. I ain't saying 3rd because I can't compete against Chelsea, City, United. I just don't see it. But again, it's like ruling out Liverpool again. Realistically, 5th. I'd hope 4th, but I see us getting 5th.
Yeah. And the thing, the scary thing is, before I come to yourself, Gunner King, is that Liverpool, Man City, and Man United will all strengthen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Liverpool are looking at Saudi. Chelsea are looking at Haaland. You know, like
they're all going to.
United have already got Sancho, and they're looking at Varane. You know, City are looking at Grealish and Kane.
So, Gunner King, off the back of that, give us your predictions.
I mean,
if you was a betting man, what would you say?
I still think for me, it's way too early to judge because we've signed one player, Tavares. Lukongo's virtually done. Yeah. You know, I think James said he had his medical today. On the court earlier. But he's not going to be a player that's going to come in and be sort of changing things up on his own. So I don't know, like the way the squad currently is, we will not finish in the top 8, even with these two, right? So I'll say that much, you know, like unless we make more signings.
The top half finish
we'll be lucky to get a top half finish. We need to make 3 or 4 more quality additions to have any chance of being anywhere near even the top 6. And until I see who they are, I'm not putting my stamp on anything. Sorry, guys. I hate to be a sports war.
Stop sitting on the fence.
I ain't out here to get flipped.
Let's just say
the rest of it is, you know what, my take on England and Italy was so bad, I don't even care no more. I'm going out there.
Ask me on the 31st of August.
All right, then. Noted.
Yeah.
Start that.
You can hold me to that. Yeah. On the 31st of August, I have a better idea. But yeah, the way the squad is at the moment.
Wait, just going back.
Hustler, trust the process, and there we go. Comes
go to the next comment. With regards to that comment, I remember certain Spurs fans were talking about winning the league last season.
Wait. Spurs fans want to talk about trusting the process, yeah? Let me explain their process. Yesterday they have a bid accepted for Julius Condé, and today he tells them that he doesn't even want to enter negotiations with them. Some old process.
Wait,
process they got going on down Paxton Road.
is Koundé a manager? Because isn't that what all the managers done to them as well?
Yes, pretty much, yeah. So they started as they meant to go on, like they transferred the whole manager situation to the whole player one, like
he's coming back. He's coming back.
Yeah.
You said third spot.
I said third spot. So if we go by Tottenham logic, where did they end this season? 7th. So that's 6. That's 6 places different. So I've got a 6-place window. So we could either go champions or 9th place, and or say 8th place, and I'll still be within the Tottenham window.
You're still within grace.
Clip me up, bro.
Yeah, I see that. He's clipping you up, isn't he? I'm clipping you up, bro. Nice one, Mike. Thank you. Look, guys, listen. I want to say thank you. It's been Arsenal always do that to us, don't they? They get you sucked in. Gumza, James, Gunner King, I want to say thank you so much. James, pleasure. Just one thing again, thank you for coming on GunSlingerz. We'll put your socials up in our description. Listen, and we hope to have you on again soon. Gumza King, our foundation, thank you again. Listen, all I can say is that we might be in for another bumpy ride. We might be in for a bumpy ride, this season.
We got the Amazon DVD to look forward to.
Oh my good grief, flipping it!
I actually can't wait to see it, man.
Save that for another show. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah. Why'd they do that? Could we be that hard on cash?
Yeah.
It's either gonna make or break, isn't it? It's either gonna be an amazing show for Arsenal fans, or it's gonna be crawl up and hide.
Exactly what Turkish said in the Twitter space I was in with him yesterday, man.
Yeah, it's gonna go. It's either way. It's no in between, is it? It's not gonna be.
It's just money.
Okay, yeah, it's just gonna be. But you never know. I've got faith. I have faith. I don't know why I have faith, but I have a bit of faith in them this year for some strange reason.
I know what you're saying.
I know what it is.
You know what? Let's just hope it isn't a rinse repeat this time next season. Do you know what I mean? Of crap. Let's hope what we actually do what we kind of. Let's be progressive. Hopefully the owners will be doing that, and I believe they will. I think they've come up for a lot of criticism.
Rightly so.
Rightly so, as you say, rightly so. And if they don't, I just feel that it could be their positions could become untenable. Yeah. So let's see how this all plays out, and that could be a huge thing in the whole all or nothing in it with Kroenke out demonstrations and all that kind of stuff. But let's see, guys. Thank you again. Until next week. Adios.
Nice one.
Peace.